So we got some new video that just came in of Gaza from, I think it's ITV News. And understand something, the IDF was basically trying to hide the destruction and the damage that they did to Gaza. Anytime there were reporters who were on board some of these aid flights where they're dumping limited amounts of aid from airplanes, they would tell the reporters, you're not allowed to point the camera out the window. You're not allowed to basically like record the ground. And I mean, I've never seen a scenario where it's more obvious how guilty the Israelis are when they tell people you're not even allowed to like show what we did. I mean, can you think of a single thing which incriminates them more than that? I mean, that's just out in the open. That's just brazen. That's just like, yeah, we're genocidal war criminals, and so we're trying to hide it. So don't look at what we did. Incredible. So let me show you this video here. Mohammed Chada says the following: Gaza is now the most bombed enclave in modern history. The proportion of destruction in the Gaza Strip is higher than Hiroshima and Nagasaki, London, Dresden, and Hamburg combined. Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, Sudan. Over 92% of all homes destroyed, razed, demolished, burned to the ground. So 92% of Gaza is gone. It's rubble. It's ash. So let's watch this. And you'll notice the media has caught on, and now they're using appropriate language to describe the depths of the depravity. Watch this. Here we go.
Building by building, Gaza is being erased. Cities like broken skeletons laid waste by war. Graveyards of life and lives. The streets, homes and coffee houses of old now cast to the ground. The soul of this place, along with the souls who lived here, brought to ruin in the rubble and dust. Israel bans foreign journalists from entering Gaza. 15,000 feet above is the closest we get to seeing for ourselves the consequences of the war it is waging here. When we joined an airdrop last week, Israel also tried to restrict images from above being filmed or shown. Aid being dropped from this flight is to those who are trying to survive in this hell. This was Gaza before the bombs started falling, a place of life where normal lives were lived. There is no sign of that normality now. This is one of the explosions which destroyed Gaza, targeting the Turkish-Palestine Friendship Hospital, the only specialist cancer hospital in Gaza.
Do you guys remember when the first hospital was attacked by Israel and they lied and said, actually, it was Palestinian Islamic Jihad that did it? That we would never attack a hospital. And then fast forward to literally every hospital in Gaza has been bombed or attacked or invaded, or that was a controlled demolition, the one you just saw here. Recording themselves doing a controlled demolition, that was only, 7 months after they said, we would never attack a hospital, bro. And same thing on schools. They attacked schools, they attacked hospitals, they attacked UN buildings, they attacked World Central Kitchen workers who had the World Central Kitchen logo on top of the vehicles, and they bombed those. They treated them like target practice, like go get the World Central Kitchen workers. That's who we're dealing with. That's who we're talking about. And everybody needs to remember that.
This is what's left of it now. This was the Al Wafa Old People's Home. We can't say what's become of its residents. This was a primary and secondary school. We can't say what became of the pupils. Many of the other ruins were homes. We can't say whether those that lived here survived or are among the 60,000 now dead.
And people got to stop using that 60,000 one, dog. It's not 60,000. It's just not. Who are we kidding? Can we stop with this? That is the number from the Gaza Health Ministry. The Gaza Health Ministry, their ability to accurately track this thing collapsed over a fucking year ago. That's why the death toll has basically stopped at 60,000. Meanwhile, every day, go follow Dropsite News, who has reporters on the ground in Gaza. Every day, 74 people were killed, 89 people were killed. Those were just the ones who were bombed and shot at. That's to say nothing of the 48 extra who died from starvation. Now we're probably over 200 people who have died from starvation, and that number's only going to go up and up and up and up. The real number is over 180,000 is what we're talking about. And that might even be like a massive, massive undercount.
Under international law, it is a war crime to target schools, hospitals, and other civilian sites. This landscape of destruction looks otherworldly, Yet it's not. It is this world, and what is happening may yet come to define one of its darkest eras. One that casts a stain on humanity, which will endure for generations.
Goodness me, Emma, those pictures. It's hard to overstate the extent of the destruction, isn't it?
It is, and we only flew over part of Gaza, but the areas we flew over were completely devastated, and it's very difficult from the height we were, because we're not allowed in, to actually get any more detail than we managed to get there. But it was perfectly clear that there were huge areas of complete destruction, and the people were still trying to live within those areas. You could see on certain pictures just a little bit of movement where people were obviously just trying to eke out some form of survival there. And we also got the opportunity to speak to people who were leaving Gaza through Jordan, through medical evacuations, and it was very clear from speaking to them just how desperate that situation is. We can't get in order to say and show ourselves directly, but their testimonies were incredibly strong. They spoke of the devastation, they spoke of there being very little left of Gaza, and they kept speaking over and over again about their hunger. These are children who'd lived through war and who also had very, very serious injuries. But when we asked them how they felt, the only thing they told us was how poorly they felt, the pains in their stomachs and their need for food.
I mean, it's so disgusting that we lived through this. If you told me, let's even go back 5 years, right? Just go back 5 years. If you told me 5 years ago, you are about to witness an atrocity that can only be compared to the Holocaust, I would have said, you are fucking crazy. I would have said, no way. Look, do I have a pessimistic view occasionally when it comes to humans? Absolutely. However, did I think we didn't evolve even like 1% from the days of World War II and the fucking gas chambers and the Holocaust and the Nazis and the fucking goose stepping and Mussolini and Emperor Hirohito and the kamikaze pilots? If you said, Kyle, you don't get it, like, people are still exactly the same as they were back then, and all this bullshit about international law and human rights and the United Nations and the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, that is all fucking window dressing. That is all a veneer. And you're going to have a new Nazi Germany effectively rise up, starve an entire population, ethnically cleanse an entire population, massacre an entire population. Again, I would have said, I think you're too pessimistic. I think that's not right. I think that, sure, you can have, the U.S. empire does a lot of terrible things, the Iraq war, Afghanistan war, torture, et cetera, but the idea of just what we've witnessed in Gaza unfolding, I would have said that's too unrealistic. You made it like a literal fucking cartoon villain. And you made it like it's just a caricature of like good and evil. No, but it turns out it happened. And it happened right in front of our eyes. And, we will not be able to wash the stench of this off of us. Those of us who lived through it, I mean, imagine telling your grandkids when they're like, how did you let this shit happen? And it's like, I mean, we're all, like, ashamed, right? Like, we're all ashamed. Even those of us who are against it and been talking out against it the whole time, it's like, you always feel like I need to do more. I need to do more. Like, anything to fucking stop this shit. Anything. Again, to put this in perspective, this is from April, dog. April. Gaza bombing equivalent to 6 Hiroshimas, says Bradford World Affairs expert. 6 Hiroshimas. 6. And then we have this. I don't know if people really understand how bad what's happened to Gaza is. So here's a collection of stats, often conservative undercounts, that make clear how much worse this is than anything we've seen in recent history. All right, here we go. Just 3 months into the war, the average death rate at the hands of the Israeli military, 250 deaths per day, was worse than every major armed conflict this century, including Ukraine, Iraq, and Yemen. The next highest, the notoriously bloody Syrian civil war, had a rate of 96.5 per day, less than half this. To find a conflict whose first 100 days were as deadly as Gaza's, you have to go all the way back to the Rwandan genocide in 1994. The runners-up are not even close. And they go on to explain, look, this is just using the official numbers, the 60,000 number, which is a gross undercount. So in reality, it's even worse than that. So at this point, what do you say? Because the answers are all clear. We've laid it out. We need to cut off the money to Israel, cut off the weapons to Israel, condemn them at the UN, sanction the government officials, bring them up on war crimes charges, force a peace deal on them, and broker a deal for Palestinian liberation and sovereignty. All of that is a given. But as I pointed out, we're past that. We're way past that. Now, we're at the point where it's like, hey, dog, As the Irish president said it too, and God bless him for saying it. We all should have said it a fucking year ago. But the Irish president goes, look, let's go through the UN and do it in a multilateral way, but we need military force to stop Israel. We do. We need military force. We need people with guns to forcibly allow in all of the aid, all of the medical care that they need. And if the Israelis try to stop us, game on, bitch. Game on. I mean, you want to talk about regime change. If there's ever been an argument, I'm a non-interventionist to my core. If there has ever been an argument for regime change, I mean, shit. Clear as day. Clear as day. So, there you have it. And, shame on the world. As they say, it's a stain on humanity. And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to wash it off. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.